Hi there, smart drivers. Rick here, talking to you tonight about why it's easier to get your driver's license in the wintertime. And no, that's not a slippery slope. Hi there. Welcome back. Mallory is here. Matt says, I'm somewhat addicted to Smart Drive Test. I obtained a Class 3 with no air endorsement. It is great that we can imagine almost any scenario, and Rick has us covered. I'm so glad that I can help out. And Static Threat. These guys rocked, helped me years ago, and they can help you too. And that's what we plan to do here tonight, help you learn to drive in the wintertime if you're preparing for your driver's test, convincing you not to put it off until the spring. Please do not put it off until the spring. Because you can get your license, get your freedom, and get going with driving, and you'll be a better driver once spring comes because you'll know some of the things not to do when you're driving. So Pin is tuning in from Calgary. Corey's here, Bricks for Wheels. He is the moderator, does an excellent job keeping the goofy people out, as well as getting the videos for more details on questions I answer for you. And Mallory, my friend Mallory, is here from the Maritimes on the east coast of Canada, and Trevor's here. And you know, the other thing I think that is, because I've noticed that the numbers are kind of off a little bit today on the thing, I just realized it's daylight savings time. Of course, it's dark outside at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is like goofy. Cuber, got your test tomorrow. Good luck on your test tomorrow. You're going to do awesome. Cole is here. I passed my test on Thursday. Thank you for your advice. You're most welcome. Yankee's here. Trevor, hello and good evening. And Cuber, as we said, you have your driver's test tomorrow. Congratulations and good luck on that with your driver's test tomorrow. Test this week for TAP as well. And so the way that we do it here, I'm just getting myself going. What am I looking for? I am looking for the piece that I don't have here. Here we go. There's what I'm looking for. So basically the way we do it here is the slideshow. We do that first. It's about 10 or 12 minutes. I convince you that yes, you should go and get your driver's license because it's easier in the winter time. Yes, it is. As well, you know, driving examiners are not overwhelmed as they are in July and August and early September, and they're a bit more relaxed, and they're going to give you a bit more of a break on your driving instruction. As well, there's some things that aren't as exact. You don't have to be 8 to 12 inches from the curb when you're parking in the wintertime, because I will tell you one thing right now. Driving examiners will not push your car out of a snowbank. So you only have to get close to the snowbank. You don't have to get to 8 to 10, 12 inches from it. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about why it's easier to get your driver's license in the wintertime. As well, in the wintertime, with snow and ice on the roads, if it's bad, they're going to postpone your test. They're not going to take you out in treacherous weather conditions. Most of the time in the wintertime, the roads are going to be clear. There's not going to be any snow on them. They're just going to be bare, and everything's going to be fine, and it's going to be like taking your test in the summertime, except you don't have to obey all the things that you have to do in the summertime, so it's going to be a bit easier. Sabrina, thanks for the good luck there. Nick is tuning in from Los Angeles, and Trevor has his test in 20 days. All right, so let's get going here on the presentation. Winter learning to drive in the winter time. And as I said, if roadways are like this in this image, they're not going to make you take your driver's test. They're going to postpone it to another day. For those of you who are new to Smart Drive Test, I was a long-haul driver, a truck driver in the 1990s between Ontario, Canada, and the United States. I drove the lower 48, mostly east of the Mississippi, but I did make it out to Texas, Arizona, California a few times. Became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997 in a bid to come off the road. Went back to university, finished my degree, went to the University of Melbourne in Australia. Graduated with a doctorate in legal history in 2006. While I was going to university and doing my doctorate degree, I drove buses for Greyhound in Australia, and you know, they're fond of saying that they founded Greyhound, but I'm not sure whether that's true or not. I never really dug into that information. I also drove for one of the regional bus lines there, and if you want more information about me and Smart Drive Test, you can head over to the Smart Drive Test channel, our website rather, and check out the autobiography and read that. It's actually some humorous stories there of my years of driving instruction and figure out who I am and what I'm doing. New video this week. It was the second driving lesson with Willie. We worked on both controlled and uncontrolled intersections and turning left and right and understanding those intersections and getting them down to speed. And so he's got a driver's test coming up next month, and we're working on that. And so that's the second driving lesson. Have a look at that. As well, there's a demonstration that I do in there, so there's a good chunk of that is the demonstration that I do with Willie to show him how to drive correctly for the purposes of the driving test. So slipping and sliding, getting your driver's license in the winter time. If it's conditions like this in this image, they're going to postpone the driver's test. They're not going to make you take it. So the other thing in the winter time, know that, you know, yes, you're going to learn how to drive on snow and ice, and you're going to learn how to drive in adverse weather conditions. And you need to know that you need to separate steering and braking. Those have to be two separate actions in the wintertime. You can't steer and brake at the same time. It has to be either one or the other. So you brake first and then steer and then accelerate. So better mastery of the primary controls, you get a better understanding of traction, you get a better understanding of oversteering and understeering. And in forthcoming presentations here, we'll talk more about oversteering and understeering. So that's what we're going to talk about. You're going to understand traction more. So don't be left out in the cold. As I said, it's unlikely that you're going to, if it's snowing heavily, they're probably not going to take you out on your driver's test. Okay, don't listen to the rhetoric. Don't listen to everybody, oh my God, you're going to die in the wintertime if you drive. Oh my God, and you learn how to drive. So don't listen to all that stuff. Okay, it's not true. Most of the time in the wintertime, the roads are good, and most of the time they're going to take you on the main roads, and the main roads are well plowed, well salted, because there's lots of traffic, lots of people there driving, and they have to drive safely, so they focus the road maintenance crews on the main roads. Know that you can drive in adverse conditions. Make sure that you drive for the wintertime. Make sure that you're comfortable in the vehicle, okay? If you're going for driving lessons and those types of things, don't wear 3 winter coats and try and drive. Don't have big bulky boots on, right? Know that you're just going to get in the vehicle. It's going to be warm in the vehicle once it's warmed up and those types of things. So wear comfortable clothing to learn how to drive in the winter time. Okay, you can be a little bit lackadaisical, and when I say lackadaisical, you don't have to stop at the correct stopping position at stop signed intersections, for example. You don't have to stop before the stop line or at the crosswalk line. You simply have to stop before the sidewalk because there's going to be snowbanks and those types of things. So you just stop before the sidewalk, make sure there's no pedestrian traffic, and then creep up, look around the snowbanks, and then when you can see and know that it's clear to go, then you can go. It's a little bit like driving in the Bronx or other suburbs of New York City where they have double parked cars. A little bit like that. You got to creep up, make sure it's clear to go, and when it's clear to go, then you can proceed. You don't have to be 8 to 12 inches from the curb, 20 centimeters from the curb at minimum, because excuse me, driving examiners will not push you out of the curb. Push you out of the snowbank. If you get stuck in the snowbank in the wintertime, the driving examiner is just going to get out of the car and they're going to walk back to the driving test center, or they're going to call somebody, because usually they don't walk. They usually get in the car. As well, in the wintertime, if the roadways are snow covered in the residential areas, you can go a bit slower on the residential areas. You don't have to do 50 kilometers an hour. You shouldn't be doing 50 kilometers an hour in residential areas where there's cars parked on either side anyway. But if there's snow and ice, then you can even go a little bit slower. So what's between you and oblivion? Make sure that you're driving a front-wheel drive vehicle or an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's unlikely in this day and age that a vehicle you're going to be driving is rear-wheel drive. There's very few of those left. Steel-studded tires, you can have those. We do have those in BC. They drive me crazy, but you can have steel-studded tires. Do have good snow tires on your vehicle, and I would encourage you to have a set of 4 matching snow tires on your vehicle. Make sure that they're properly inflated. Snow tires, they either have to be M&S, which is mud and snow, or you have to have the snowflake mountain symbol, as you can see here. Those are winter tires, and those will keep you safe in the wintertime, especially if in combination with a 4-wheel drive vehicle, an all-wheel drive vehicle, or a front-wheel drive vehicle. So if you do encounter ice, you do encounter snow, slippery condition sections, get off the brake and off the throttle and focus on steering. All right, So make sure that you're steering in the direction that you want to go and move out of the main ruts. Sometimes the main ruts get slippery because the cars are braking in those main ruts. They're compacting the snow, and then it melts a little bit when the tires skid on it, and then that melting water freezes and creates ice. So know that. So if you can get out of the main ruts on the road there, you're going to get a bit of traction. As well, in the wintertime, know that you're probably going to have to turn on the defrost. You might have to turn on the windshield wipers. So make sure that there are good windshield wipers on the vehicle. All of this goes in with a pre-trip inspection before you go down for your driver's license. This is an absolute must. And I just put a short up today on doing a pre-trip inspection before you show up for your driver's license. And I say this again and again and again. For those of you showing up for a pre-trip inspection, if you're showing up in your own vehicle, make sure that you do a pre-trip inspection, give it a vacuum, get rid of the food wrappers, the fast food wrappers out of the footwells. Make sure it's clean, make sure that the passenger seat is adjustable, make sure the seat belt works, make sure the door opens and closes from the inside, because if none of that works and the examiner gets into the vehicle, you're going to be denied your test. Don't be denied your test because of something simple that could be fixed. For example, a brake light out on your vehicle. So have good wiper fluid on, know how to turn on the defrost and the heater controls in the vehicle. Make sure that the examiner is comfortable because you don't want it too hot or too cold in the wintertime. And so secondary controls for the purposes of a driver's test, high-low beams, know how to turn on the headlights, defrost, and then the windshield wipers. Make sure you know how to turn on and off the windshield wipers. These are the 3 secondary controls at minimum that you should know for the purposes of your driver's test. All right, so you got to get her stopped, drive for the conditions on the road, brake early, and creep up to where you want to stop. This is a basic driving on snow and ice technique and skill for those of you driving in the wintertime, or maybe your first winter. Stop back approximately half a block, slow right down, and then just creep up very slowly to where you actually want to stop at the intersection, because you don't want to get right up to the intersection, nail the brakes, and then find out it's too slippery and you're not going to get the vehicle stopped. Okay, so get off the brake and throttle, and if you have to, if something's going wrong and it's all going pear-shaped, drive up on the sidewalk. And there is a video here, how to stop on ice. Corey will put that up for you. I got caught out here 3 years ago coming down to an intersection, and I hit the brakes at the intersection, and it was icy. But, I managed to get out of the tracks and get a bit of traction and did get it stopped. So it does happen. All right, you got to do the work. Work with the pylons in the parking lot, especially if there's snow and ice. You can get used to the vehicle slipping and sliding around and those types of things. Look in the direction you want to go. Understeering and oversteering. Understeering is when you turn the steering wheels and the vehicle still continues to go straight. Oversteering is when you turn the steering wheel and the back end of the vehicle starts to come around. All right, so learn how the vehicle responds when it loses traction. Drive down the parking lot quickly, step on the brakes, and feel what it's, get a feel for what it's going to do when you slam on brakes, especially when the ABS brakes engage, because that might be a bit surprising the first time you have that happen. So make sure that you do that as well. So learn to drive in the wintertime. You'll acquire a higher skill set in terms of your ability to handle the vehicle. The test is less exact in the wintertime. You only have to be close to the snowbank when you're parallel parking. You just got to get in behind the vehicle in front of you. Okay, you don't have to stop at the stop line at intersections. You just stop behind the sidewalk, because the snowbanks and the roads are plowed. You stop behind the snowbank, make sure there's no pedestrians, and then creep up, creep out, make sure that there's no traffic, and when the way is clear, then you can proceed. If it is snowing or there is treacherous conditions in the wintertime, they will postpone your driver's test until another day when the roads will be fine. And most of the time, 80% of the time, 85% of the time in the wintertime, the roads are just fine. So you're going to do awesome on your driver's test in the wintertime. All right, so I missed the slide here, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Transition back over here. My friend Goose is here. How are you, Goose? How are things in Sudbury? Is it starting to get cold and wintry there in Sudbury, in Northern Ontario? AB, you said not in Ontario. AB, what is it that's not in Ontario? Probably studded tires, I suspect. I'm pretty sure they outlawed studded tires in Ontario a few years ago. There's nothing just jarring to me when I hear cars going down the road with the steel studded tires on bare concrete. Oof. I understand there are places here in British Columbia where you're going up and down mountains. And, you know, once we get into January, we'll have hard pack on the high mountain elevations. But, you know, people driving around here in Vernon, where I live, you don't need studded tires on bare pavement. Ugh. AB, make sure that there is no dash lights on. My daughter couldn't do her test because of the warning lights on the dash. AB, which warning lights did you have on the dash that prevented your daughter from doing her test? Huda, I failed 4 or 5 times in Oakville. Huda, what was the feedback that they gave you on failing the test? Did they give you some feedback on the reason for that? Yankee, did you like living in Australia, Rick? Yankee, I wouldn't do again what I did when I went there because I was going to graduate school and I didn't have a great deal of money. It's pretty tough to live in Australia without a great deal of money. It's an expensive place to live. Blessed says the weather in Hawaii is cold and raining. Blessed, we're not, there's not a lot of sympathy. Not a lot of sympathy for you. I know that you're a native there in Hawaii, and I was a native in Australia too, and I've been to Arizona in the wintertime. No, it's cold for you. Not like if I came to Hawaii, I'd be like, oh, it's very balmy. Oh, it's very balmy. Oh, let's go swimming. Kind of thing. So, yeah, for you it is. But for the rest of us, it'd be very balmy and, you know, nice. Jim, what could happen if you get stopped by the police during the test? Jim Bob, that's probably not going to happen. Ever. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Alice, does the driving test length remain the same if it's raining? Yes, it does, Alice. And this is one of the things, and I tell you again, your job as the student taking the driving test is to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. Blessed. Nice emoji. Awesome. Trudes Brown, hi, thanks so much for all your videos, Rick. They helped me out a lot. I passed my road test. So excited. Yay! Awesome. Yay! Woo! Passed your driver's test. That is awesome. Brandon, it ain't cold until the water starts freezing. Yes, AB, so you said yes, not allowed. Studded tires are not allowed in Ontario, and I am very much on board with that. They should not allow studded tires in Ontario. Most of the places here in British Columbia, they should not allow them here either. All right, so Corey's put up a bunch of videos there that I have suggested. Thanks for doing that, Corey. That's awesome. So have a look at those. Bless has been driving for a while. Still not a good driver. It could be challenging. Yes, but you know, Blessed, driving in the winter is not something that you have to deal with. But you certainly have to deal with there on the island of Hawaii is narrow, windy, up and down mountain roads kind of thing, which can be, you know, have its own challenges driving in the wintertime for sure. Absolutely. Goose, I use steel studded tires here up in Northern Ontario where they are not illegal. Putting them on this Tuesday. AB, the engine light. Okay. Did they give you a reason, AB? Because it kind of depends on which driving examiner it is, whether the check engine light is a safety issue, because it has to be a safety issue with the vehicle for them to deny that, and the check engine light is not always a safety issue. It could be something very simple that's not that. AB, it was an oxygen sensor. So you had one of those ogre type examiners that just said, oh, the engine light's on, I'm not taking it out. Is that basically what happened? Yeah, that's a bummer. Alice, do you have any videos on driving in the rain? My test is coming up in December and I'm nervous about the weather. Alice, absolutely. We have videos about driving in the rain too. And yes, and Corey's also put up the video on buying winter tires there. Have a look at that. That was a interview I did with Gary at Tireland here in Vernon a few years ago, and it's still very relevant today with all of that information. So definitely have a look at that. As well, if you are doing your driving test and it's raining out, again, make sure that you know how to turn on the defrost. Make sure that you know how to turn on the windshield wipers. If the air conditioning doesn't come on automatically in your car with the defrost, most newer vehicles, it does, because what happens is the air conditioning draws the moisture out of the cabin. and will help to defrost the windows. So if it doesn't come on automatically when you turn on the defrost on maximum, then turn on the air conditioning to help defrost the windows. The other thing that you can do is to roll down one of the windows in the vehicle just down a couple of inches to allow fresh air into the cabin, and that will also help to defrost the windows and reduce the humidity inside of the vehicle, because you have to realize that when it's cold and you're inside the vehicle, just our breath has a lot of humidity in it and will cause the windows inside your vehicle to fog up. So know that as well. Jim Bob, if you violate a railway crossing signal, is that a fail? It is a fail because railway crossing signs are regulatory signs, and if you do that, you will fail. So for example, if the lights are flashing and dinging, you know, sometimes the gates don't come down. I have seen that. But if the gates aren't down and the lights are dinging and the bells are going off, then, you know, come up to the railway crossing, stop, check, make sure there's no train coming or any other maintenance vehicle, because it's not always trains. Sometimes it can be maintenance vehicles on the railway tracks, and then proceed with caution. So you can do that at railway crossings. Mallory, here in Nova Scotia, during the day it is not too cold out, but at night it gets cooler. It's very much like what it is here in British Columbia. Mallory, thank you everyone who sent me birthday wishes on last week's live stream. I had a great birthday, and that is awesome. Congratulations and belated birthday. That's what I was trying to say, Mallory. Corey's put up the video on windshield wipers, Trico Force windshield wipers. I'm also going to put those on. I'm doing a video this week. The video this week is 7 gifts for the driver, the smart driver. Yes, 7 gifts for the smart driver. I just came up for the title for the video this week. Trico Force windshield wipers are on there. I know that there was one comment this week that somebody said that they didn't work for them. However, I bought Trico Force. It must have been before COVID. It was before COVID because we went to Harrison Hot Springs, and that was 2 years ago when my mom was here. I have had those Trico Force windshield wipers on my vehicle for more than 2 years, and they're still working really well. So those are on the list for gifts for smart drivers. So we're going to do that this week. 7 gifts for smart drivers. So look for that on Wednesday. Sheldon, I missed your comment. I will do 2 mock road tests June 6th and 13th, 2022. I'll do my road test July 2, which is my birthday. Sheldon, why are you waiting so long to do your driver's test? Is that when you're legally able to do your driver's test? The waiting period for your learners, is that the reason? Or are you just waiting till the summertime? Huda, Rick, I was missing your video. Now I follow your channel. Thank you, Rick. Your advices are the same of the instructor's feedback. That's awesome. Okay, Matt, does air conditioning defrost windshields in winter? Yes, it does, Matt. If you turn on the air conditioning, that will help to pull the moisture out of the cabin in the winter time, and that will help to defrost the windows faster. Excuse me. Sammy, love your content. Even though I have been licensed, you can never stop learning how to be a safer driver. And Sammy, I can't agree more. I've been doing this for a very long time and teaching this for a very long time. I'm still learning stuff. Every day I'm learning stuff, how to do stuff better and whatnot. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited because I started doing shorts about 2 weeks ago, and I'm posting a short every day at 9 a.m. in the morning, 7 days a week. Every week I'm putting shorts up, video shorts. And if you have any suggestions, you want longer comment, you want video shorts that are closer to a minute, I can do all of that now. One of the things I've figured out how to do in my video editing software is to take the the landscape portrait. I'm mixing up all my words here in terms of video. The landscape video and turn it into vertical video very easily with a click of a button, which is just makes my life so much easier to make these short videos. So look for those on your mobile phone, and those are going to help you out and give you quick tips where you don't have to spend a lot of time watching something. You just get a quick technique or skill or ability that will improve your driving overall. So have a look at those every day, 9 a.m. Richie, when making a left turn from incoming traffic, going straight always have priority, correct? Yes, so if you're making a left turn, the traffic coming towards you, the straight through traffic, always has the right of way, okay, at major intersections, of course. It's different at two-way stops and different at four-way stops, so make sure you understand all of those differences, okay? Try not to confuse me. Mallory, why is driving test easier to take in the wintertime versus the summer? It's easier in the wintertime, Mallory, because it's not as exact. You just have to be close to the snowbank. You don't have to be 8 to 12 inches from the curb. You don't have to stop at the stop line. You just have to stop before the sidewalk. When you're moving out at intersections, you can go slower in residential areas and those types of things. And as well, the driving examiners are a little bit more relaxed in the wintertime because they're not overwhelmed with 30,000 driver's tests in a week. So it's a bit easier in the wintertime. Jacob, hi Rick, I just got my driver's license a month ago due to your videos. Thank you so much, and I'm still watching, and that is awesome, Jacob. Congratulations on getting your license. That is really, really super news. Thank you so much for dropping back and letting us know. Sheldon, I just waiting until me and my parents move. Oh, okay, so you're waiting until your parents move. You got some other stuff going on there in life. That's awesome. All right, Corey's put that up so you can have a look at that video as well. Just go back and watch the presentation, Mallory, on why it's easier to get your license in the wintertime. Saklim, I started learning in December and got my license in March. Learning in the winter had me deal with the elements better. Yes, and as well, you have higher skills, higher driving skills if you learn to drive in the wintertime because you have a better understanding of the vehicle and the vehicle, when it's going to break traction and those kinds of things. So I do encourage you to learn how to drive in the wintertime. Monet, watching from Saskatoon, always watching your videos. Hope I pass my driver's test next week, and you will. Absolutely. You're going to do awesome. Good luck on that. Drop back and let us know how it goes. But absolutely, good energy on passing your driver's test next week for sure. So one of the things I want to talk about Goose studded tires use permitted in vehicles in Northern Ontario is defined by the Territorial District of Sudbury. So where's the line in Ontario, Goose, that defines Northern Ontario? Is it North Bay? Anything kind of north of North Bay that allows to have studded tires up there? Here's the other thing. I had a comment last week from a smart driver who was frustrated by her driving instructor, and this comment really goes out to driving instructors. It does go out to some of the smart drivers as well, but it's very much directed at driving instructors. Her driving instructor told her that when she was parallel parking that she needed to put on her hazard lights and gave her the rationale that cars behind her would give more room if she put on her hazard lights. And I wrote her back and I said, well, that's completely misinformation and your driving instructor is steering you wrong, because if I pull up beside a line of parked cars and I throw my hazard lights on, that is not telling the traffic behind me that I'm parallel parking. That's telling the traffic behind me that I'm double parking and that I'm going to get out of my vehicle and I'm going to go into a shop somewhere and I'm going to leave my car there. So the vehicles behind me are not going to wait for me. They're going to move around me. So if you're a driving instructor and you are teaching parallel parking, or you are a smart driver and you're learning how to drive and doing parallel parking, you pull up, put your signal on approximately half a block from where you're going to park, put your signal on, and then as soon as you stop, put the vehicle into reverse. The reverse lights, the little white lights on the back of the car come on, and your signal is on, and that indicates to other drivers that you are going to parallel park. That's the communication with other traffic for parallel parking, not your hazard lights. So don't deviate from the plan of driving trying to tell students something different, because it's not true. All right, that's my little beef this week. Naven, I bought your course today. We'll be taking your test there in Alberta. Absolutely awesome, Naven. Thank you for that. And if you have any questions at all, let us know. More than happy to help you out and make sure that you get your driver's license and pass your test first time. And the course that Naven is talking about is Pass Your Driver's Test First Time over at the Smart Drive Test website. Pass your driver's test first time guaranteed. If you don't pass your driver's test, we'll give you back your money. No questions asked. As well as a bonus, we throw in both the Pass Your Driver's Test. As a bonus, we throw in defensive and winter driving smart courses. So talking about winter driving in the wintertime, getting your license, the winter driving smart course is part of that package. You can pick that up for about $38 USD over at the Smart Drive Test website. So head over there, pick that up. Guaranteed pass your driver's test first time. Sakim, I never heard of hazard lights on the parallel park. Yes, you do not put the hazard lights on for your parallel parking. Hazard lights are, and there's some confusion about this with hazard lights. Let's just talk about when you do use your hazard lights. You do use your hazard lights whenever you're going to do something unpredictable. For example, if you're going slow on a street because you're looking for an address, yes, put your hazard lights on. If you're pulled over on the side of the road because you've got an emergency, something broke on your vehicle, or you're trying to figure something out, yes, put your hazard lights on. Do not put your hazard lights on when you're driving in heavy snow or heavy rain, when you're driving along the highway. You want to drive me crazy? Oh! It's foggy out, or it's heavy rain, and some person, I'm not going to call them names, has their hazard lights on. I know that it's bad. I'm in the same weather conditions. I'm driving on the same road. You don't have to have your hazards on. Oh, that drives me nuts. Drives me crazy. Goose, we are also permitted to cross a solid yellow line to pass someone on a highway. A solid yellow line. Like a single solid, Goose? Because that's just standard information. That's single solid. Okay, here's another piece of information about driving that a lot of people think is wrong. Single solid yellow line means pass with caution. Where's my handbook here? I've got a handbook right here somewhere. Because, you know, I'm a nerd and I have a driver's handbook right here on my desk. Look at that. The Ontario driver's handbook right here on my desk. Where's road signs? Single solid paved line. No, signs, traffic signs and lights. Road markings. Do we have road markings in the book? In the book. Lights. Where's road markings? Oh, here we go. Road markings. Goofy Ontario handbook. It doesn't have it in it. Oh. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, so we've got the Ontario handbook, we've also got BC handbook, and we've got the commercial driving handbook. We'll find it for you here, because I know it's in here somewhere. Chapter 2. Signs. Here we go. Here we go. I found it. I found it. I got it. Single solid yellow line. Here we go. Right there. See? Right there. Is that the one you're talking about, Goose? Okay, it says underneath, single yellow line. Vehicles traveling in either direction may pass when it's safe to do so. And actually, I had to tell Tracy that last night too. My girlfriend with a really hot car. She has a Audi S4 V6 turbo. Like it a lot. Yes. Okay. And Goose says Northern Ontario was defined by the territorial districts of Algoma, Cochrane, Kenora, Manitoula, Nipissing. It's Nipissing. Okay, don't mispronounce that. Parry Sound, Rainy River, Sudbury, Thunder Bay, and Temiskaming. I was able to pronounce that. Don't mispronounce Nipissing. I did apply for a position as a professor there, and a friend of mine had a great deal of fun making fun of that name. So we'll just leave that there. Lieutenant, all you have to do is start calm and stop behind the line, and most importantly, when you are making left or right turns, always turn off your blinker, wait 3 seconds, don't go. Lieutenant, what are we talking about? Because I think I missed the beginning of that conversation. Sammy, my husband has always asked me why I watched you back when I was studying for my license when you were in Canada and we had moved back to the US. Because most of my content here on the Smart Drive Test channel is directed towards an American audience and the rules and regulations in the United States and most of the states there. Madison, my lessons end sometimes in January. I was super nervous because I'll take my test in the winter, but as I'm practicing and applying what you thought, nerves are slowly going away. I'll update you if I pass. That's awesome. We look forward to hearing from you, Madison. Matt, is there a help for the part of a 3A in Manitoba, authorized instruction or air brake endorsement? The next step is Matt, are you looking for the air brake endorsement? Is that what you're looking for? Because we have lots of that information there. Exactly. I like rambling Rick. Awesome. Okay, the other thing that I want to tell you about, since I'm on rambling this week and telling you about things that are just annoying me. You know what they're doing here in the province of British Columbia? This just like I heard this last week. Somebody said to me that for the driving instructors that are teaching tractor trailers, they no longer have to do the car portion of the instruction. I was like, what? So they don't have to do the class 5 stuff anymore to become a tractor trailer instructor? And that's like going to teacher's college and not having a degree in whatever subject you're going to teach once you get to elementary school or high school or whatever you're teaching. Also, a double solid yellow line. You can't pass on a double solid, Goose. You would need to show me that in the Highway Traffic Act there in Ontario, because you can't pass over a double solid. Nowhere. That's in the book too. That's actually in your Ontario's handbook here. Irf, thank you. You taught me how to drive a manual with your videos. That's awesome. Glad we could help you out with the manual transmission. Ryan, are they still doing driving tests in the parking lot due to COVID? Ryan, I don't think that they're doing any more tests with the COVID information. I think it's all back on the road now with the driving tests. Jacob, my question is to you that as I am a new driver, I should drive more to get more experience, but stopped driving lately due to personal reasons. I'm afraid that I will forget driving. Also, any advices? Jacob, the best advice I can give you in terms of, just if you can get any driving at all, if you can just drive around up and down your driveway and those types of things, even that's going to help. But, you want to try and get as much driving as you can. Exactly, and that's the most insane thing that I've ever heard. Yeah, that was the most insane thing that I ever heard. Because the other piece with that, with the driving instructors, the CDL driving instructors here in the province of British Columbia, we just brought in the MELT. We just brought in a mandatory entry-level training, which means that new truck drivers in the province of British Columbia have to take a 120-hour course to get their truck driver's license. But yet the driving instructors who are teaching this course only have to do like a week course to become a driving instructor to teach tractor trailers. But they don't have to know all the car stuff. We don't have to know about stop signs, and we don't have to know about road rules, what a single solid yellow line means. Okay, fill in the blank on the funny there. We don't have to know what road markings mean. We don't have to know how to approach complex intersections and that kind of stuff. That just like boggles my mind. It's the thinking of bureaucrats that just, I don't know, maybe I missed part of that when I grew up. It was like London, Ontario, where I used to live years ago. When I was there in the summertime, I'm listening to the news radio station, and last year, because of COVID, bus ridership on the transit was down by 50%. So somebody on the transit board had the idea that the way that they were going to fix all of this was that they were going to invest $25 million in buying 10 electric buses. Just think about that for a second. Ridership was down by 50% on the transit buses, so they were going to spend $25 million to buy 10 electric buses. I'm not sure how 10 electric buses are going to increase ridership, because personally, when I'm riding public transit, I don't care whether it's a diesel bus, an electric bus, or natural gas bus, or whatever kind of bus it is. All I care about is it goes from point A to point B. So I'm not sure how 10 electric buses is going to increase ridership. But this is the way that bureaucrats think. I'm not sure. Eric, why isn't dash cams allowed when doing a road test? It's just, it's policy, Eric. I don't know why. Okay, you would think that we would have some accountability with dash cams, but we don't. You can't have any recording devices in the vehicle. That's all I know. And it's a widespread policy amongst DMVs and test centers. Doesn't matter where you go in North America. Every DMV is the same. TAP, what advice do you have for new drivers who are scared to drive on the highway at speed? TAP, the advice that I would give you is to go out when there isn't a lot of traffic on the roadway. Go out early in the morning or later in the afternoon, and go out with somebody who you value as a mentor that can help you out in terms of giving you some advice and helping you out and just maybe calm down while you're out driving on the highway, okay? And the other thing is if it's a multi-lane road, stay in the right lane, do the speed limit, and just get some practice. Mallory, there's something wrong with that picture or story. There's lots of things wrong with that. Brandon, it's always fun having someone right up behind me while I'm doing the speed limit, learning to drive because they want to go 5 over. Yeah, and unfortunately, Brandon, that's a challenge for anybody learning how to drive. When you're doing the posted speed limit, of course, you're the slowest vehicle on the road. Everybody else is trying to go around you or get around you or those types of things. Stephanie, wish me luck. Planning to take my tests next week in Everett, Washington. Good luck on your test next week, Stephanie. You're going to do awesome. Remember to breathe. That'll help your body to relax. You're going to do awesome. Drop back and let us know how it goes. Goose, you didn't get back to me on the double solid. Jacob, my question is that, okay, so we've got that. I answered that question. Newer, Jacob, you could sit by someone who drives and always watch them when they turn, change lanes. Yes, that is another thing. That's an excellent suggestion. Thank you, Newer. Yes, Con, tomorrow is my road test at 4:45 in Ontario. Please give me suggestions. So basically, okay, so your job on a driver's test is to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. All right. So hopefully 4:45. Con, where are you taking your driver's test tomorrow at 4:45 in the afternoon? Where in Ontario? Okay. Jennifer, I passed my test in March thanks to your videos. Keep it up. I'm greeting from Michigan. Thank you, Jennifer from Michigan, for dropping back and letting us know that you passed. How has the driving been going in the few months since you got your license? That is really, really great news. Alice, random question, but I usually have a student driver magnet on the back of my dad's car when I practice driving. Am I allowed to keep that magnet on the car when I take the test? Yes, it is a requirement of having it on the vehicle when you're testing, Alice, because you're still a probationary license. Crystal, my driving practice was good today. Also, I'm going to be a black belt next Saturday because that is when I'm going to be testing. And congratulations on that, Crystal. That is absolutely awesome that you're going for your black belt next week. Con, you're doing your test at 4:45 in the afternoon. Okay, know that it's going to be busy, because it's afternoon rush hour. Okay, so it's going to be busy. Okay, yes, don't stress. Remember to breathe. Know that it's going to be busy. Make sure that you have minimum 3 flashes on the signal. If other vehicles won't let you merge in or change lanes, just crowd that left side of your lane. Don't go out of your lane, but crowd the left side. Leave your signal on, and that will help you out to take your driver's test and pass. So, 4 components of a driver's test: space management, speed management, observation, and communication. So, space management, 3 to 4 second following distance at all times. Stop in traffic so you can see the tires in front of you making clear contact with the roadway. If you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit anything. Don't drive into an intersection that you can't clear, because that's an automatic fail for blocking an intersection. Remember, for the purposes of the driver's test, and despite what some other drivers might say here on the channel, yellow and red lights are mean the same thing on a driver's test. If it's a yellow light and you can get it stopped safely without somebody parking in your trunk, you got to get it stopped, because if you go through that intersection on a yellow light and the driving examiner looks up through the top of the windshield and sees the light go red, that's an automatic fail on a driver's test, okay? Know that for the purposes of your driver's test. Speed management, you either have to go the posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, and when you make a turn out onto a roadway, get it up to speed as quickly as possible. Don't dawdle. It's just as unsafe to go slowly or to be overly cautious on a driver's test than it is to be going too fast. Communication, you have to communicate effectively with other traffic. Lights and signals, the position of your vehicle on the roadway, the position of the road user on the roadway. So for example, if there's a pedestrian near a crosswalk, there's a good chance that he or she is going to cross the roadway. So position of your vehicle. Eye contact, if you're not sure what a pedestrian is doing, get eye contact. Hand gestures, make sure you use all 5 fingers. Don't tell them they're number 1 on a driver's test. And then horn, use your horn sparingly on the driver's test. Scanning patterns, observation, okay? Your scanning pattern is every 8 to 10 seconds, far down the road, look at your instrument panel, far down the road, check your wing mirror, check your both wing mirrors, and then far down the road, check your center mirror. Your scanning pattern is tied into your speed control because every 8 to 12 seconds, you are looking at the speedometer. Because you're looking at the speedometer every 8 to 12 seconds, you are adjusting your speed every 8 to 12 seconds. So if you're going over the speed limit 5 miles an hour consistently, I guarantee you will not pass your driver's test. It's not a matter of how much. Yes, it is a matter of how much, because if it's more than 5 kilometers an hour or 5 miles an hour, you're not going to be successful. As soon as you see the speed going over, you need to be adjusting every 8 to 12 seconds because you're scanning every 8 to 12 seconds. You should be looking at your instrument panel. So those are the 4 major components of your driving test. And know that everything in the arena of driving, social driving, following too close, up too close in the queue of traffic, line of traffic, stopped at lights and those types of things, is telling you to do something different. You got to do something completely opposite for the purposes of your driver's test. And again, I say again, because I had a smart driver a little while ago, was convinced that unfortunately the driving examiner had put him or her in a dangerous situation during a driving test. And I came back and I said, well, you knew that it was during rush hour and you knew it was in a big city. So how could the driving examiner, who sits with hundreds of students every week, put you in a dangerous situation? They're simply putting you into a traffic situation and seeing whether you can deal with it. Because your job, regardless of what class of license you're going for, is to demonstrate to the driving examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. That's your job. Your job is to take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. Nothing less, nothing more. That's all you got to do. Okay? Mark, I've been driving as an Alberta Class 5 GDL for about 4 years in a very rural setting. I've recently moved to the city and would like to get my full Class 5. Do you have any suggestions? Mark, yes. Watch the videos here on the channel. Corey will put up the video on the mock driver's test. Have a look at that, and that will get you started on doing your Class 5. The other thing that I would, that's going to be probably the hardest for you, Mark, is because you're driving in a rural area. You've probably been driving with the flow of traffic. The first thing you got to do is start practicing driving at the posted speed limit. That's going to be a tough transition because you need to do that to get your full license. All right. Mallory, do you have any driving stories to tell us from this past week? Driving stories. I always have driving stories. Let me think about it for a sec, Mallory. Making the examiners feel safe when you're driving is a priority. Am I right, Rick? Eric, you're absolutely right. And on that note, Eric, the first 5 minutes of your driver's test is crucial. Okay, you want to put the driving examiner at ease. Because this week I was with Willie, and here's another piece, and I'll tell you this story. Here's the story, Mallory. So I go out with Willie. Willie's been unsuccessful in his driver's test a couple of times, and he's off. Like from the first 5 minutes we get in the car, he is just off. He's going around corners too fast. He's too close to the curb. His space management's not good. He's dinging the bicycle line. And, he did it like 3 times. And if you do that 3 times, that's 30 points. You just were unsuccessful in your driver's test. And then he went around on a turning lane, a slip lane, and he was really close to the curb. And I actually kind of went, because I was certain he was going to hit the curb. And I said to him, you just failed your driver's test because you got the pucker factor. The pucker factor is when the driving examiner in the car goes, once you get the pucker factor, the driving examiner is not comfortable anymore. Once the driving examiner is not comfortable anymore and they have all trust is gone with you driving the vehicle, I'm sorry, but it's very unlikely that you're going to pass your driver's test. So yes, it's very important that you keep the driving examiner feeling safe when you're driving with them. Goose, here's the article about the Galaxy, Ontario regarding crossing a double solid yellow line on highway. Floors me too. Not sure what to make of it yet. One of my students brought it up to you. Yeah, and students are really awesome for that. Really, no, I'm definitely going to have a look at that, Goose, because Why would they let you do that? Because as you and I know, when you're driving along highways, when you're coming up a hill, that's when there's a double solid line. There's a reason there's a double solid. Francisco, I got my test next Friday, and it's awesomeness to drive. Oh, you passed your driver's test. Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations on passing your driver's test. Okay, one more time. Pass your driver's test, first time guaranteed. Course package over at the Smart Drive Test website. You don't pass, just let me know. I'll give you your money back, full refund. As well, the defensive and winter driving course, smart courses, throw those in as a bonus to significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a collision. As well, we're talking about tonight winter driving, learning how to drive in the winter and getting taking your driver's test. The winter driving smart test, winter driving smart course will help you with that. So check that out over at the Smart Drive Test website. For those of you watching now live or watching on the replay, have a look at that. Harvey, thank you for your lessons. I've always watched your videos. By the way, I'm already a full G license from Ontario. Excellent. Helped me a lot. I'm getting my license in February. I hope I'm successful. Brady, yes, you are going to be successful, my friend. Jennifer, after my road test, driving has become less stressful now. I'm now worried about winter driving as a new licensed driver. Jennifer, you're going to be great. And there's a whole playlist here on winter driving. You can have a look at that, and all of that will definitely help you out. The first thing is car care. Get your vehicle set up for winter driving. For all of you now watching live or watching on the replay, right now, go out and make sure that you put winter washer fluid into the reservoir in your car, because if it gets cold and freezes and you have either water in there or you have summer washer fluid, it will freeze. And as we know, when water freezes, it gets bigger. The spaces between the molecules get bigger and it expands. And because the reservoir in your car is plastic, it will break that, and it's very expensive to replace if you break that reservoir, because it's usually not just the reservoir, it's the stupid lines and everything else. So make sure that you put winter washer fluid in your vehicle. Corey's put up the link for the Smarter Driver course package as well. Corey will put up the video for you on checking your vehicle. Make sure you winterize it properly. Check the radiator as well. Most radiators now have antifreeze in them so they won't freeze, but make sure you have the proper winter tires on and those types of things. Get all of that done. Brady, how slow do you have to go in the wintertime on icy roads? It's just a matter of, usually you're going with the traffic flow. The traffic flow will go as fast as you can go. I know this because it's funny, because the buggy, my old CRV, is the slowest vehicle on the road when the roads are good. But when the roads are bad, the buggy's the fastest vehicle on the road because it's just an awesome winter vehicle. So, usually the traffic flow is a good indication of how bad the roads are in the wintertime. Screamer, is there such a thing as driving too slow on a driving test during poor road conditions in the winter? Screamer, if the road conditions are that bad in the wintertime for a driving test, they're going to postpone your driving test. They're not going to take you out, because you have to understand that driving examiners know that you're a new driver, you don't have a high skill level. They're not going to put you into bad driving situations. Most of the time, they're just going to postpone the test and wait until the roads clear up. Hassan, I spent $1,900 with 3 teachers, but I failed 5 times. Finally, decided to keep training with my husband. Whatever we want to go, and my next driving test will be next Monday. Wish me luck. Hada, you're going to do awesome. Remember to breathe. That'll cause your body to relax, and then just do what you need to do to take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. Okay? Do that. Mallory, thanks for all your great tips tonight. Video is very entertaining and educational. Awesome. Thank you, Mallory. I'm glad we could help out. Epic. I've been watching your short clips on driving, and speaking of hand signals, what would be the right way of letting a motorist know that I'm stopping at a stop sign, then turn left or right? Okay, so Epic, as you're coming up, you've got the slow down or stop hand signal, which is down like this, and then as you get and you stop at the intersection at the correct stopping position, then if you're going left, you go like this, and if you're going right, then you go like this, okay? And of course, that's all going to be backwards for you in the camera, but that's essentially what you need to do. Scott, I have a driving test on Friday, December the 17th. Please give me hope and luck. Scott, you're going to do awesome. You still got like 6 weeks to practice. You're going to be great, my friend. Scott, do you have to park in the exact center of the lane in a parking spot? No, you don't, Scott. As long as you get it between the lines for the purposes of parking for your driver's test, it doesn't matter if you're a little bit crooked or those types of things. You just have to get it in between the lines. Beats, is taking a test in the winter good or bad? Oshawa, Ontario. Beats, take your test in the wintertime. It's easier. The test is less exact. Go back and watch the presentation here at the beginning of the live stream, and that will help you out in terms of taking your test in the wintertime. I strongly encourage you to take your driving test in the wintertime. Saklim, do you have many students that you teach that aren't filmed? Saklim, I have very few students that I teach that I don't have on camera. Most of the ones I do. And the only student I have right now is Willie. So it's all good. Brady, how slow? Okay, we talked about that. There was another one here that I missed. I'm just trying to find it. I can't find it now. I thought I saw it here. If I missed your question, oh, here it is. Savage, I live in the deep south. Snow is no worry along the U.S.-Mexico border. That's awesome. Yeah, so you're in Texas there. And yes, no, you don't have snow there. I mean, they did last year, which was, there were some funny memes about that. But, we won't go there. But definitely, if you're in South Texas, no, snow is not something you usually have to worry about. And but it is a bit of a challenge for those of us who live in the north and have snow and those types of things. Rick, your students are lucky. That's awesome. Thank you for that compliment. That's really great. Jane, I took six classes in September and still failed my driver's test due to anxiety. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's that anxiety really gets a hold of you, and unfortunately is not one of your better friends when you're taking a driving test. Should I take classes from the same instructor or get a new one? Jane, it's kind of a personal decision. If you were comfortable with the instructor and felt that the instructor was doing well, you were working well with the instructor, it probably would work better to go back to the same instructor. If you failed because of anxiety, you just weren't able to get your anxiety under control, then I might suggest, you go back to the same instructor instead of trying to find a new one and create a new, form a new relationship and those types of things. So yeah, definitely go back to the same instructor if it was working out for you, for sure. Jacob, I loved your shorts on your channel and did lately. They are quick and to the point and easy to memorize, waiting for more. And as I said, Jacob, every morning at 9 o'clock, my goal right now, and once he gets back, he's visiting his mom right now in Chilliwack. Once Gavin gets back, he's going to take that over. So we're just going to film the shorts for the week, and then Gavin's going to take all the editing and whatnot and get them put up and those types of things. But I'm working on it to have a short every day at 9 a.m. So check those out on your mobile. Okay? Dancer, the best teacher ever. Aw, you're my favorite person right now in this very moment. Thank you so much. That's just awesome. Thank you for that compliment. Goose, I really need a solid academic answer to my question about crossing a double solid yellow line on the highway in Ontario. Goose, you need a solid... Here's my academic response. You really shouldn't. It's bunk. You really shouldn't cross a double solid. Because most of the time when there's a double solid painted on a highway, you can't see over a hill or around a bend or a curve or something like that, or you're approaching an intersection. There's a reason why there's double solid yellow lines on the road. No, don't do it. It's not safe. I wouldn't do it. Brandon, I find the music helps calm my anxiety while driving. It's low enough I can't hear it most of the time, but I understand you would advise against it. Brandon, no, if it's low enough and it helps you to relax, by all means. The other piece with highly productive people, and I have heard this, is that they play the same song on repeat while they're working. And it helps to reduce stress and make them more productive. So that is another technique that you can use. Whatever works for you to reduce your anxiety, whether it's meditation, whether it's, working out like crazy, going to jiu-jitsu, rock climbing, running a 10K every other day, whatever works for you, right? Do that to reduce your stress and your fear and anxiety, right? It's just, it's the same thing. I've been watching the SWAT episode on Netflix, and it was like, what's your chair? What's your chair? What's the place where you can go that you can completely unplug, that you can completely unwind, that you can get away from whatever stress and anxiety that's causing you? Because we all have stress. We all have anxiety in our society. It's just a product of what it is, right? We have to figure out, what is our chair? Where do we go to sit to unwind, unplug? Who is the person we hang out with that helps us to do that? And that's what you need to do, because your driving test is just one of many, many, many tests that you're going to face through the course of your life. And this is a skill that you're going to need, not just for your driver's test. You're going to need it to graduate from high school, to graduate from post-secondary education, to get the job that you want, to build a YouTube channel, to get your CDL license, to get a job working, doing whatever you want to work. So you got to figure out what's the thing that helps you to relax, unplug, overcome your fear, and to do those things that Smart Drive Test is all about. Success, achievement, empowerment. How do you get there? How do you do that? All right? So, awesome live stream tonight. Lots of great questions. Had some great stories. If we didn't get to your question, didn't answer your question, leave a comment down in the comment section there. We do the best we can to answer everybody's questions and comments. Send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest. We'll help you out, do the best we can if you're watching either here live or on the replay. Passed your driver's test in the last couple of weeks. Congratulations. Awesome. Awesome news. And if you have a test coming up in the next couple of weeks, good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.